Namaste.
Namaste. Welcome to KalyaN Seva Talks, number 11. Soorya Namaskara, a gratitude journal by Sri Nikhil Kulkarni. Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chatur Bhajam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnam Pashantaye. Nikhilji, I will transfer the host to you. Please go ahead and continue the recording. And you are the host.
Oh, thank you so much, sir.
Most welcome.
Yes. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So first of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be here and share a little bit of whatever tidbits I collected. You always start, you are the source of inspiration for all this thing. And as you know, it all started in 2013. Wonderful journey. Thank you so much for everything on that. Just like you started with the shloka, I would also like to start with a shloka. It's basically, we say, Sahana bhavatu sahano bhunaktu saha viryam karva vahai om tejasvina vadhitamastu. So for all the participants, I'm not going to teach anything to you. I'm here to learn with you. So my understanding is it's a process of learning. And Gautam Buddha used to say, everybody is my teacher. So just like that, I would say, I will share something with you, you share something with me, and the process of education should enlighten. That's the very objective of today's presentation. With that thought, I'll get into the topic. The topic is Soorya Namaskara, a gratitude journal. The brief agenda for the talk is we will take a look at the gratitude, what is the definition of it. Then we'll look at what is the gratitude journal. How does it really help to my heart and mind and overall health? And then we will dive into the Soorya names and how chanting those names is actually a gratitude journal. We'll try to correlate that, and then we'll draw some conclusions for our future reference. All right, gratitude. So I really love this statement from a great Roman philosopher called Cicero. I think he's one of the pioneer, very great speaker, great politician of that time. He said in one of his letters that gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. So if you want to breed any virtue in life, the first thing you will need is gratitude. Gratitude is first of all, it is being thankful. Being thankful for everything that we got in life. If we go by the word definition, it's basically the Latin root for it is gratia or gratia, meaning thankful by favor. It's a state of mind. It's a spontaneous feeling. It's that aha feeling, that aha, I'm so thankful for it. When we look at the maybe a sunset, when we look at a beautiful sky full of stars, that aha feeling comes to us and say, oh, thank you. Or somebody just opens keeps the door open for you. The spontaneous feeling is, thank you. And that is the gratitude. And it is basically a strength of our heart. Heart is like the Anahata Chakra, which is basically the source of all emotions. And gratitude lives in the heart. And it is the strength of our heart. So that's the worldly definition of gratitude. We will again take a deep dive into it. This statement is very important to me. It's written by Dr. Alex Colby in his book, The Upward Spiral. He says each one of us has a gratitude circuit in our brain. But unfortunately, it is badly in need of workout. That's what he says. And I completely confer with him. And then he talks about the benefits of it. And he says the strengthening that circuit is all going to get you is basically elevate your quality of life, starting from sleep. And it is the tool that will make you feel that you are connected with the people, with the society, with the entire world, with the universe. So just keep that statement in mind as we take a deep dive into the gratitude and gratitude journal. So what is a gratitude journal? I want you to remember these 4 words. It's basically a habit. Habit of what? Habit of recording. That recording has to happen every now and then. That is very important part of gratitude journal. Recording and reflecting on things that you are grateful for. We looked at the definition of grateful on a regular basis. So all these 4 words are equally important. You should record, you should reflect on what is going right, you should be grateful for what is going right, and that should be on a regular basis. So the real issue is when I conduct these Soorya Namaskar classes, people say, okay, what is there to teach in Soorya Namaskar? Really, there is nothing to teach in Soorya Namaskar. Honestly speaking, there is these 7 asanas. We all know them. There is nothing awkward or nothing very difficult kind of a asana. And you just do them in sequence and do them in a sets of 12 positions, and that's it. Soorya Namaskar is done. So the real issue is doing Soorya Namaskar every day is a challenge. Doing Soorya Namaskara is not the challenge. Doing Soorya Namaskar every day, every morning, every rising sun is a challenge. And that's exactly what my emphasis is why do we really do it? Once we understand that, once we understand the real meaning and the real purpose behind it, it will be a transformation rather than a change. And that transformation will stick to us and we will do it without fail. Every rising sun will call us and say, okay, I will do Soorya Namaskar. Not by compulsion, but by choice. So that's where Soorya Namaskar and this the importance of this regular word. It's very hard. It's very difficult to be regular. So, but it is doable if once we understand the purpose of it, once we understand the real meaning of it, we can make that practice as a regular practice. And it is quite possible with Soorya Namaskar. It's basically a rewiring of the brain, focus on positive aspects of life. They always say that the glass, look at the glass as always half full. Fine. I mean, where I would start is wonderful. I have awesome eyes to look at the glass. That's where my gratitude starts. I'm here to experience that there is a glass. Wonderful. I can breathe well, and I'm going to be thankful for that. Now there is a glass and there is water. So everything becomes a lottery after that. So there is no need to tell us that, okay, train your brain to see that there is the half glass is full. No, the gratitude starts even before that, much before that. And that's what we do in Soorya Namaskar. So let's move on to the next slide. Just keep this in mind. This is a very good statement. I love it. It's from Stephen Covey. He says, our thoughts lead to our actions. It's a simple equation that he has given. Thoughts lead to actions, actions lead to habits, habits to character, and the character to our destiny. Okay, now, so what is important for us is to watch our thoughts. And the gratitude journal or even Soorya Namaskar is a practice of watching those thoughts consciously. And these thoughts, they live in our brain. It comprises of like 7 lobes, 3 layers. But more importantly, it has more than 100 billion neurons. And those neurons are like a social network. Now, we all are familiar with social network. We are a little bit more familiar than actually needed. But yes, but think of it. We have this Twitter and Facebook and Reddit and all that stuff. How many people? Just 6.5 billion people, maybe 7 billion people. And maximum, this is a social network of 7 billion people. Now imagine a news goes into that social network and what kind of havoc it creates. It is connected. I'm connected to my friends are connected to their friends, their groups, and their groups, and all of a sudden that thing becomes viral. And all this, we have seen the effects. We have lost governments, we have lost stock markets, we have lost economies, we have lost so many things. And so many things have happened just because of this small social network of 6.5 billion. Now imagine in our brain, we have a social network of 100 billion neurons. Now just imagine what would happen if I induce a thought in that social network. What kind of havoc it is going to create? It can be a havoc or it can be a really awesome situation. It's up to us what kind of thought we introduce in our brain. So for a healthy mind, the first thing we need to look at is, what is the entropy of mind? So entropy is a thermodynamic concept. I think we talked about entropy in my previous presentation at length. But just to, if you are not attended that, entropy is the degree of disorder. So how many neurons are really lighted in my brain? If they are like in a very awkward fashion, okay, I'm thinking about this, I'm remembering this, I'm angry at this, I'm mad at this, wonderful. Like that entropy is too high. If everything is calmed down, okay, I don't worry about that. I don't think about that. I forgive them. I forget them. Okay, I kind of switched off my lights and that entropy is low. So our purpose of everything we do, it can be a sadhana, it can be a upasana, it can be a prayer, it can be a worship. The very purpose of that is to bring that entropy of mind down. And I don't want to emphasize more and talk more about it, but the very definition of nirvana, as Gautam Buddha has given, is reducing the entropy, is calming down. Nirvana is not something that we achieve after death or having a samadhi and then we are going to get the nirvana and all that stuff. No, for Gautam Buddha, the nirvana is calming down. That's all what we want. And that's exactly what we want to accomplish through gratitude journal. And remember, 100 billion neurons, social network, and it can create havocs. So be watchful about that. And what we induce in that brain, in that social network is up to us. And at the beginning of the day is the very, very good time to start a day on a very, very positive approach and with positive thoughts and a sense of confidence, so that your anxiety, your fear, and everything is going to go down. Okay, I mean, life is going to come at you. It's not going to stop. I mean, stock market is going to crash and the economy is going to die and things can happen. But if your mind entropy is low, you are more capable to accommodate those traumas in life. So that's the very purpose of keeping that entropy of those 100 billion neurons as low as possible. All right. So in terms of gratitude journal, there has been a lot of research that has happened in the US. What they did is they studied the Vietnam War veterans. Every war veterans, I mean, it doesn't have to be Vietnam, any war veteran. I mean, war is such a thing that you have to do things that you really don't want to do. You have to see things that you really don't want to see. And those things you have to do it by compulsion. And at the end of the day, when you come back, you start feeling like, okay, I mean, there are all kind of emotions that may peak up in your mind and brain. And then, I mean, it can create a situation. So they chose Vietnam War veterans to study the effect of gratitude journal. I mean, we are not going to go into the depths of it, but I just wanted to highlight the fact that they have substantial results that shows that it has substantially reduced their traumatic disorders. One of the prominent cause of, I mean, the treatment that they wanted to do is basically they were prone to suicidal thoughts and all. So they were successfully able to increase the meaning and purpose in life. Okay, fine, you have been a soldier, now you are back in the society, you have a different purpose, you have a different meaning. So acceptance level of that purpose went up substantially, and that helped build the resiliency to suicide. Of course, lower stress, depression, higher social support, all these benefits. So we have enough research scientific research to support that gratitude journal has a profound positive effect on our mind. Likewise, just like our mind, our heart, there is a awesome research called GRACE. It's called Gratitude Research in Acute Coronary Events. They studied specifically people who have coronary events, and then they looked at their cardiovascular health, and they found that the optimism and gratitude, it basically predict a superior cardiovascular health. It's a very important finding. Substantial reduction in the level of inflammatory biomarkers. So all these things, why I am showing you this is, okay, there is a substantial research that has happened to prove that gratitude journal helps. Now we are going to look and see how Soorya Namaskar can be used as a gratitude journal. Okay. I said in my original agenda that I will be talking about the mantras and their meanings, but looks like that presentation will be a little too long. I don't mind talking more, but you mind listening more. So I thought I will take that topic for some other day. Today, we will look into the names of the Surya. Another thing from Gautam Buddha, he says, what you think is you become. What you feel is you attract, and what you imagine is you create. See? So it's the power is with you. What you think is you are going to become. What you are going to feel is you are going to attract. What you are going to imagine is you are going to create. It's as simple as that. And now we are going to see through the 12 names of Surya that we chant during a usual Soorya Namaskar practice, how we are really going to think about the sun, how we are going to feel the sun, and how we are going to imagine the creation of the sun so that we can create something as beautiful as the sun's creation. All right. The first name is, oh, okay, before I jump into that, let me thank this Sanskrit language. It's one of the beautiful language. I mean, I love this language. It has so many synonyms for a single term. Just to give you an example, sun. There is actually no synonym for sun in English, but they have 108 names for sun in Sanskrit. And I mean, all these names are outstanding, full of meaning. To give you some examples, like Karuna Rasa Sindhu is another name given to sun. What a beautiful name. Karuna is compassion. Sindhu is ocean. So what their meaning is, the one who is full of compassion. Wow, that's a height of imagination. I mean, probably whoever has given that name to sun probably has seen the sun just like you and me. But it is his imagination working out that, okay, he is so compassionate. Okay, then he must have seen the compassion of sun through his life, through his life experiences. And that's when he thought, okay, let's call him as a ocean of compassion. Just like that. I mean, there are every name of sun is full of meaning, and it is a form of either it is a form of connecting with the sun, or it is a form of appreciating the sun, or it is a form of saying thank you to the sun. So now let's go into these 12 names. Mitra, what a wonderful name. I mean, as a professional, the bigger friend you have, the more successful you become. That's the corporate mantra, the political mantra. So just like that, I mean, for the fun part, if you have a friend like sun, I mean, I think probably all of your anxieties should run away like this. It's so gigantic, it's so powerful, it's so energetic, it's so bright. What else you need in life? But to add to that, I'll give you one more thought for our thinking. Gautam Buddha has defined love, and he has given. He says that love is comprised of 4 things, and the first thing in love, if you want to love something, if you want to love a particular person or a thing or an art or or anything. If you want to love, you have to have all these four constituents. And what are those constituents? The first constituent is called Maitra. You must be friend to that thing. You must be friend to that art. If you want to play flute, you must be friend with the flute. If you are not friendly with the flute, probably you are not going to play it. So you got to be friendly. The first thing is Maitra. The second thing he says is Karuna, is compassion. You should be compassionate about that thing. You should have a bigger heart for that thing. You should be compassionate. Third thing he says is Mudita. Mudita is joy. Your relationship should create joy. Your relationship create joy. It should not create a sorrow for one and the joy for the other. That's not love. He says it should be joyful for both sides. So first thing is Maitra. Second is Karuna, compassion. Third is Mudita, is the joy. And fourth is the Upeksha. Upeksha is the freedom. So you should give the required freedom to your lover. I mean, you should not have any compulsions coming out of love. Like, I'm waking up at 5 o'clock, so you should wake up at 5 o'clock and then walk with me at the beach. That's not love. You should give that freedom. So we have for love to exist, we have to have all these four constituents of love in that situation. And one of that, and the foremost of that, is Mitra. What we try to do with Soorya Namaskar is we try to build a connection of love with the sun. And so that first thing we should have is the Maitra. We should be friendly to the sun. We should be affectionate to the sun. He is affectionate to us. And we got to be affectionate to him. We are going to open our heart. We are going to talk our sorrows. We are going to talk about our worries and anxieties and all that stuff. He's going to listen to you. That's it. He's my friend. And that's why I'm going to say, Om Ram Mitraya Namaha. What a wonderful way to begin the day. Next name, Ravi. Ravi is the real meaning of Ravi is a change agent. I mean, who causes the change? Who is the cause of the change? So what I want to emphasize here is change is temporary and transformation is permanent. So, somebody says, okay, tomorrow we are going to do like 24 Soorya Namaskars, and all of a sudden there is like hundreds of people come, and then they do 24 Soorya Namaskars, and then they have body ache and all that stuff, and then they say, okay, this is not for me, and then they never do it. That was a change. The transformation is you do one Soorya Namaskar, and you keep doing that Soorya Namaskar every passing day. That is a transformation. That stays with you. I'll give you one more example. You have like a prime minister or a president coming to your town, and then the cops come and then they close the roads, and then they say, okay, you are not allowed to enter in this, in this, in this. Okay, fine. People get annoyed. They say, okay, fine. And after he leaves, they open the roads back again. Well, that was a change. It was enforced on you. You were not willing to do that change, probably, but it was enforced on you. But the transformation is something like, okay, put a tunnel, open a new road for the traffic, make it convenient. I mean, they don't have to go through all that ghats and all that stuff. They can just go through the tunnel. And then people, I mean, you are basically making their life easy. And it is permanent. It is not going to go anywhere. It is going to stay. And that is the transformation. So Ravi is something that causes that transformation. So I'll give you one example. So we have this cycle of seeds to seeds. So what happens is there is a seed, you sow it, it becomes a tree, it gives flowers, then it fruits, and then it gets into seeds again. Well, is it a change or is it a transformation? This is a transformation. See, look at it this way. The seed can convert into a tree, and tree can convert into a flower, but flower cannot convert back into a tree. So it's a permanent. And it's not by compulsion. Nobody is asking that tree to grow flowers. Tree is doing it out of its inside. It wants to create flowers, and that's why it creates flowers. He's happy creating flowers, and that's why he creates flowers. So that is a transformation. And the cause of that transformation is sun. If there is no sun, probably no seed would turn into a tree. If there is no sun, probably no tree would give flowers. So for that transformation, all what we need is sun. And that is why we call it as Ravi. And that's what we say, Om Rhim Ravaye Namaha. You are the creator of transformation. And just like that, not like trees, even I am also in transformation. 40 years ago, I was looking like a different person. Now I look like a different person. After 40 years from now, I will look like another person. So I'm always in a transformation. So for that transformation also, I thank you. You are the cause of that transformation. It's because of you I can see those stars. It's because of you I can see that river. It's because of you I can drink that water. You are the cause of transformation. So that's why I thank you. And then I say, Om Hrim Ravaye Namaha. Now the third name, it's a Surya. Om Rum Suryaya Namaha. Surya is an initiator who starts something, who starts a cycle, who initiates maybe a phase of light, who cuts the darkness. For all of us who are living on planet Earth, we cannot survive without water. I mean, we call water as a Jivan. Jivan is life and Jivan is water. So they are basically synonym. If there is no water, there is no life. So if we look at the cycle of water, I mean, we have water in the sea. It goes into the cloud, then it becomes rain, then it flows through the rivers, and then it feeds to the life. And after feeding to the life, it goes back again to the sea. Wonderful. It's just like that cycle of seed to seed. But this is slightly different. There is someone who is starting this cycle. Now imagine, is it water who is starting that cycle? Is it earth starting that cycle? Is it sky starting that cycle? Actually, it is the sun who is starting that cycle. And once that cycle is started, the life flows on, life goes on. And unless it was started, probably there would have been any life. And now we are capable of going on to the other planets and all that stuff. And all what we can figure out and all what we can see is if this cycle is not started, there is no life. So because there is life, I am here. Because there is life, I am here. Because somebody has started this cycle, there is life. And that's why whoever has started this cycle, I thank him. And that's why I say, Om Hrum Suryaya Namaha. The fourth name is an appreciation of sun. It's called Bhanu. We say Om Hraim Bhanave Namaha. What is the meaning of Bhanu? Is a luster of knowledge. I mean, we are going to look at this concept at one of the later names also, but it's the supreme intelligence. The intelligence of sun has become so pure that it has remained. There is no color, there is no smell, there is no existence. It has remained as a ray of light. It has achieved the highest level of brilliance. And now its existence has remained as a ray of light. And that's why I appreciate, and that's when I say, Om Hraim Bhanave Namaha. See, I told you, in one of the names, we try to connect with the sun. In some of the names, we try to appreciate the sun. In some of the names, we thank the sun. All these are positivities, positive thoughts, generation processes. Next name is a Khaga. I think this is probably the most meaningful of all the 12 names. Khaga. So if we go word to word meaning of Khaga, Khaga is Kha and Ga. It's pretty simple. The synonyms for Khaga is bird. Bird is called Khaga, or a Brahmin. Brahmin is also called Khaga. So Brahmin is not the caste in real sense. So what they mean by Brahmin is is who knows the Brahman. So what does that really mean? If we break this word khaga, okay, probably we'll get that meaning. So kha is space and ga is the one who is living in that space, or who is like flying in that space. So kha is space. What is space? And which space is really expected in this name? So for that, I would like to refer to the theory of living in the now proposed by Eckhart Tolle. What it says is, we have constant thoughts coming in our mind. One thoughts, and then immediately after that next thought, and then the next thought, and the next thought, and the next thought. So the whole thing never stops. And what he says is, you cannot have a thought about present. You can only think about the past, or you can only think about the future. You cannot have a thought about the present, because present is gone. Present is going and gone. If you're thinking, that means you're not living in the present. That's what his synopsis is. So if you are having any kind of thought, you are not living in the present. You're either living in the past, whatever guilt that you are carrying from the past, or you are living in the future, whatever worries you are having for the future. So thoughts are like these two extremities. They are basically pulling you out of present. You are not living in the present. If you are thinking, you are not in the present. That's the synopsis. So what he says is, you need to do everything to increase the space between the two thoughts. One thought, and then there is nothing. And I'm just living. I'm experiencing the life. I'm looking at the flower. I'm looking at its beauty. I'm smelling it. I'm actually smelling it without thinking about it. I'm actually looking at the sky. I'm actually experiencing the space between the two stars without thinking about which star, whether it is a Venus or no, or is it a Mars. No thought. So what he tries to say is, we need to, if we want to live in the now, we need to increase the space between the thoughts. And now if we interpolate that meaning to the sun and his name Khaga, what it really means is, sun has achieved such a state of uniqueness or living in the now, that there is one thought and then there is another thought, and there is infinite space between those two thoughts. And in that infinite space, the sun is living. He's not thinking about anything. For sun, there is no night. For sun, there is no day. For sun, there is no sunrise. For sun, there is no sunset. This is all for you. These are all relative facts. None of them is an absolute fact. For sun, the absolute fact is to give. Is to give without thinking about anything. Is to give. And that's why they say Khaga, I mean, the one who has established himself in that infinite space between the two thoughts, and who is happy, who is living in that space forever. And that's, I think this is probably one of the most meaningful name of all. So when I go to sun, we looked at that what you think is you become, what you feel is you attract. So if you feel of sun as a Khaga, if you think of sun as a Khaga, probably you will also have that gap of thoughts in between you. And then you will start living in the now. Then you will have the quality of sun of living in the now. So that's the very meaning of Khaga, where we say to the sun that you are living in that space of indifference. Give me that power. Give me that ability to live with the same level of indifference and free of thoughts. So that's when we say Om Raum Khagaya Namaha. Next name is Pushni. Now, Pushni is, the real meaning of Pushni is nourisher. Nourisher or selfless caretaker, or it doesn't have to be necessarily the parent. I mean, yes, parents take care of us. But I will give you one example. There is a infant child born in a hospital, and that child really doesn't care. Who cares for that child? All that child wants is food and cleaning and sleep. That's all. Whoever gives it, that child is happy. And whoever is giving that service to that child also knows that when that child is going to grow up, that child is not even going to remember who took care of that child. So many nurses take care of us when we are unconscious, when we are at hospitals, when we are at operations. We really don't even remember who took care of us. Well, those are the pushnis. Those are the pushnis. Those are not necessarily the parents. Of course, yeah, parents, we already have gratitude for them. We know that, okay, they did a lot of us for us. We are here because of them. So we know that they did there, and we recognize that. But there are so many unknown hands that have helped us, helped you come here and have this experience of life. For that hand, for those hands, we call as pushni. And if you look at the sun, it is taking care of us every minute, every second. We are just not recognizing it. All what we eat is made by sun. All what we wear is made by sun. All what we do, all experiences are made by sun. And it is proven by physics. And how many times really did we care for that sun? We might have lived like 50 years and 40 years in our life. How many days we really went out to the sun and said, okay, thank you so much for everything that you gave me. Wow, I ate that food. I ate that rice yesterday. What a wonderful rice you created. It's you created that rice. You created that farmer who created that rice. And now I'm thanking you for that. It is that unknown hand that has helped me come here. And it is that sun. And that's why I call Om Raha Pushne Namaha. Isn't that a gratitude journal?
You bet.
So next name, it's again a worship of or a praise of sun god. It's called Hiranyagarbha, one with the core made up of inert metals such as gold. So what I want to derive from this name is again the indifference. I think gold is the only metal on this planet. Nothing can affect gold. You throw it in the water, you throw it in the sand, you throw it in the fire. You do anything that you can imagine. You do anything with the gold, really nothing can happen to gold. And probably that is the quality of sun. And if you look at any planet that is made by sun, that is the very quality of that planet also. At the core of these planets, at the core of this sun, what is there is like a gold-like substance. And it is unaffected. It is unmoved. It is indifferent. And then after that, we start creating layers of differences. So what I want to see here is, I want to see that quality of sun that is indifferent at core. And if I feel that quality, probably someday I will get that quality. If you feel it, what you feel is what you attract. So I feel that quality of sun, that its core is made up of that indifference. And I want my core to be like that, made up of that indifference. And then I say, Om Ram Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Next name is an appreciation of sun. Marichaya. The meaning of Marichaya is the one who is decorated with thousands of rays of light. Wow. I mean, we appreciate our scientists for finding out things that can take us, that can give us like the very near view of the sun and all that stuff. And now what we are able to figure out that, okay, for a sun, there is a core, probably the Hiranyagarbha, and then there is a huge, gigantic corona of light around it. I don't know when this name was given in Sanskrit as a Marichaya. And if they had all those equipments to look into the sun and find out it's corona, but probably what they want to see, probably some of them might have seen or imagined or visualized, is that corona. They want to appreciate that you have been beautified with that corona of light. And that's why I say, Om Hrim Marichaye Namaha. I'm just appreciating you. I'm just appreciating the sun, that you look so beautiful with, you are such a well adorned with those rays of light, thousands of rays of lights around you. And I'm looking at you. Next name is Aditya. Aditya is basically an effort to going back to our roots. So when we say, let's say Mahamrityunjaya mantra. So Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urva Rukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mukshir Yajamruta. So basically what we are trying to see here is, we are not trying to avoid the death. We are trying to, we are asking for the liberation from the concept of death and liberation from the fear of death. What we are trying here is I'm trying to tell myself that I'm not this birth. What I see in this birth is not what I am. I'm eternal. When was I born? I don't know. Because, oh, somebody say, oh, you have a date of birth. Yeah, that's when you born. No, I don't think so. That's the right way of telling your birth. Probably somebody will say you were born when you were conceived in the womb and all that stuff. Then, okay, when did you come in your dad? And then when your dad was born, and when your dad was born, and all that stuff. So basically, there is no way we can find out when I was born. Likewise, when I'm going to die, is I'm not going to find out. I don't know. So my real identity is that eternal. That is going from births to births, place to place, forms to forms. And that's my real identity. And when I say that Mahamrityunjaya mantra, I tell myself that I want to get rid of this fake identity that I am this Nikhil Kulkarni. I'm not. I'm telling myself that I am that eternal, and get rid of this temporary identity and make me a permanent understanding that who I am. And once I have that understanding, there will be no death. And so there will be no fear of death. And that is the very meaning of the Mahamrityunjaya mantra, is to get liberation from the concept of death, not the real death. The death will happen, but not the concept of death. I mean, we want the liberation from the concept of death. So what we are trying to do in that mantra is we are trying to connect to our roots. And when I say Aditya, is again we are trying to connect to our roots. In India, we used to have something called Paksha Pandravada, or it's a 15 days where we remember all our ancestors. Fine. Okay, I probably know my grandfather, I probably know his dad, and then after, I probably don't even know their names. Wow. And then what I do in those 15 days is, okay, all those unknown dads and dads of dads, I thank all of them. I remember all of them. It's an exercise to connect with our roots. It's an exercise to connect back with our original identity that we were seeking from the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. And when we say Aditya, it's basically we are again trying to connect with our ultimate roots. What they say is, this universe was created by the Aditi, and the first son of Aditi is the sun, and that is why the name of the sun is Aditya. So I'm remembering my ultimate roots. I am made up of that universe. I am made up of that universe. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. What does it really mean is, it's a definition of infinity. If you add whole, W-H-O-L-E, whole into another whole, what remains is whole. If you take away whole, what remains is whole. So just imagine, if you are made up of this universe, if you are taken out of this universe, universe will remain universe. If you are added into the universe, universe will remain universe. So you don't have to have a separate identity of yourself. You are the universe. You are that Aditi, and that sun of Aditi is front of you. And then you say, okay, you are the Aditya. I am also Aditya. And this is my connection with the roots. When I say Soorya Namaskar, I always say this is a process of awakening the sun within. We need to build that understanding that I am no different than sun. I am also part of sun. I am also made up of sun. Everything around me is made up of sun. And this is why I say Om Ram, Om Rim, Om Room Adityaya Namaha. And basically, this is a process of connecting with our ultimate roots. Wow. Savitra is another great name. I think most of us now have Teslas in our houses. We know how much of kilowatt hour it takes to take us like 100-pound guy from San Jose to San Francisco. It's a lot of energy consumption, right? So just imagine how many Teslas are there. Add BMWs to it, add Mercedes to it, add trucks to it, railways to it, and ships to it, and the aeroplanes to it, and then add mountains and the forest and the rivers and oceans, and add everything, and that makes an Earth. And then add Saturn and Jupiter and all that stuff. Imagine how much of energy it's going to take to move all this. It's moving at the speed that we cannot even imagine. The Earth is moving around its axis at such a high speed, like we can't even imagine sitting in that speed. So how much of energy it is going to need? And it is constant. It is not stopping. There are no weekends. There are no summer breaks. There are no Christmas vacations. There is nothing. It's happening every now and then. And where is that energy is coming from? And that gigantic amount of energy is coming from the sun. And that's why I look at the sun, I look at the abundance of energy. There is everything. There is huge, gigantic amount of energy that is coming to me, that is coming to the universe. And the guy who is giving that is standing in front of me. What else can I do? I just go down and bow down in front of him. And all I can say is, thank you. Thank you for making me part of this symphony. Thank you for making me part of this universe. And I appreciate that. And that is when I say, Om Raim Savitraye Namah. Next name is Arka. Arka is wise or Buddha. We looked at this when we talked about Bhanu. But I will give you a different perspective on Arka. In data science and this information world, we all know that this data and information and knowledge and wisdom. So we have these zeros and ones, and that is a data. I mean, my name can also be written in zeros and one, and your name can also be written in zeros and one. So basically that is pretty useless unless you attach some context to it. So when you attach a context to it, it becomes an information. Okay, this data belongs to this. That becomes an information. What do we do with that information? What do we do with that information is the knowledge. And what is wisdom? The wisdom is something that I have used that knowledge for so many number of times. I have experience of using that knowledge is the definition of wisdom. So when I look at the sun, just imagine we have so many people around us. Sun has all the data. Sun has all the data of each and every leaf on your tree in your backyard. Sun has all the data of each and every flower that is blossoming in rose garden. Sun has all the data of each and every bird flying across the ocean. See, lot of data and lot of information and lot of knowledge on how to use that information. And he has already used that information for hundreds of thousands of years. You are not the first one on this planet. So many generations have happened. So many birds have taken birth and died. So many people have taken birth and died. You are not the first one. So you are one of the creations, one of the hundreds of thousands of creations of Sun. And that's why I call it as he's the wisest of the wise. He has all the data. He has all the information. He has used it, and he has used it so many number of times, and that has made him so wise. And that's why I say, Om Raum Arkaya Namaha. Okay, and the last name that we use in Soorya Namaskara is a Bhaskara. Bhaskara is a Sanskrit word. Bha is a buddhi, kara is the giver. So basically, it's a philanthropist. It's a pattern of intellect. See, ultimately, my life, my thought process, we looked at that. Like my thought will decide my actions. My actions will cultivate into habits, and my bunch of my habits will cultivate into a character. And that character will ultimately lead into my destiny. So what matters is my thoughts. What matters is my thoughts. And where are they coming from? They are coming from my intellect. So I want my intellect to be precise as sun. Just imagine, we go out in the sun and take a sun bath for 2 hours. And then, okay, we get all kind of issues. We say, okay, my melanin has gone up, and do I look like a darker one, or what not? And people say you will get a cancer and all that stuff. Just imagine, so many trees are standing in the sun day and night. Nothing of that sort happened to them. Sun knows how much of sun that particular plant is going to need, how much of sun that particular leaf is going to need. Once that is done, that is done. You don't need more. So that level of intellect, that is the level of intellect that sun has acquired. And that's why this whole thing is visible to me. That's why the whole thing is, I can experience these things. And again, if you feel it, you will get it. If you think about it, you will probably be like it. So when I say Bhaskara, I mean all that. I mean the ultimate philanthropist of this universe, who knows how to create an Earth, who knows how to create a Saturn, a beautiful looking Saturn. Look at the Saturn. It's probably one of the most beautiful planet. Look at Jupiter. I mean, if you look at the all the planets in our solar system, if you just think of it, Jupiter is saving us from so many meteoroids. If Jupiter is tilted by even a slightest angle, probably Earth will be gone in seconds. And this is NASA talking, I'm not. Where is that intellect coming from? How to save this little beautiful Earth from these all bad meteorites, and how to position this Jupiter and all that stuff? Where is that intellect coming from? And this is coming from this sun. And that's why I say, okay, you are the ultimate creator of the intellect. You are the ultimate creator of the buddhi, and give me a little bit of that so that I can carry forward whatever task that you have assigned to me. I can give it back to the world, just like what you have been giving for so many generations, so many centuries. So make me like you, awaken the sun within me. And that's the very purpose of calling it as a Bhaskara. So I think we are already at the top of the hour. So these are the 12 names that we say. If we really understand the meaning, probably we would have written our gratitude journal for every day, every passing day in our life. So I'll take a break and see if you have any questions. Okay, this was a little bit of conclusions. Like Soorya names are full of positivity. Objective is to reduce the initial entropy of the mind. That's what we looked at. Induce chain of positive thoughts at the beginning of the day, and take control of our destiny. All right, sir. Back to you.
Thank you, Nikhil. We'll look for some questions. Anybody? Question out. Monaji.
Kulkarni. Namaskar, Nikhil Kulkarni ji.
Namaste.
Khub maja aali. It was
Arre.
wonderful. I
Very
will
nice.
never look at the sun any other way now. This has changed my entire way of looking at. Beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful. We say
wonderful.
all these names, words, but no idea. So Aditi is the Hiranyagarbha?
Aditi,
Reference to that?
Aditi is basically the universe, the universal goddess. I mean, it's a little bit conceptual. Um,
Vasishta's wife and all that, right?
no, actually, it's this is the mother of sun, is what
Yeah,
they
when
mean.
he refers to her as a mother of son, I was
Yeah.
wondering if that meant Hiranya, the womb,
No,
Garbha.
no. They are two different names. Hiranyagarbha is different, and Aditi is different.
Acha.
Yeah.
And does Aditya have anything to do with Adi?
Uh,
Like you said, it takes you back to your root, the Adi.
of course, yeah. Aditi is the origin, is the very origin of the universe. That's what is the concept. Is the very origin. The everything started from Aditi, and the first sun was the sun.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Kulkarni ji, I have
Yes,
a
sir.
question. This is Ram. With the idea or the concept of appreciation of the sun, what are your thoughts on a person, say, living in Finland, in the Scandinavian countries where there's hardly sun?
Yeah.
Compare that to somebody on the equator. So, given the geographical conditions or the state in which one finds himself or herself to be, is the degree of appreciation going to be different? And if
Actually,
so,
sir,
what impact does it have?
indeed. So definitely degree of appreciation will be different, because see, we are an outcome of sun. We are not any foreigners. First of all, we need to recognize this fact. We are an outcome of sun. And if somebody is taking birth in like a Middle East, where there is like a harshest of the sun, probably that person needs to think least of the sun. But if a person living in an area where there is like rare sun, he probably needs to think more of a sun. So I'll give you one metaphor, one example. Like, if you really want to appreciate Soorya Namaskara, okay, so you can do Soorya Namaskar anywhere. There is no stopping. I mean, I have done Soorya Namaskars on airport, in railways. I have there is no restriction on that. But what will make you well connected with the sun? So if you go out on a sea beach or a mountain top or a river's side very early in the morning, go be there at like 5 o'clock in the morning. You feel cold air. You feel the darkness. You feel the night, first of all. And then you wait there in that place. And then you will start seeing like the prabha, which is like the very beginning of the sunrise, the process of sunrise. Sunrise is not instantaneous like sunset. It's a process of sunrise. Sun goes through so many different processes. It comes up, it shows you the prabha, and then it again disappears, and then it starts coming back up. And it happens because of the atmosphere. But the point here is, now you are in a cold. You are feeling the cold. Probably your feet are already like breaking in the cold. And when you see that prabha, you start appreciating the sun more. The marginal utility of the sunrise is highest at that point. And as the sun goes up, when you start seeing it, it goes through different stages, as we name it, like the Dinakara, the Prabhakara, the Bhaskara, the Marichaya, and the afternoon sun. Probably you don't want to see it, because the marginal utility of that sun has probably subsided. So this has effect. I mean, the level of appreciation for the sun will be different at different places on the planet. That's for sure. It's not only the planet, different places on the planet, it is at different time of the day also. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it is like anything else. We have to appreciate the sun every day, in and
Yeah.
out. But
Yes.
sometimes if you don't see something and if it appears later on, you appreciate it more. Just
Yes.
like the few days we had rain,
Yeah.
and the sun came up. We were so happy to see the sun in the morning.
Exactly.
That's
Yes.
it.
Yes. And the more you start seeing the sun, the one change that you will observe is you will open up your eyes and senses towards everything around you. And you will start looking at flower in a different way. Just look at the flower. It blossoms with such a positive energy. I don't know why does it really blossoms. Who cares for that flower? If you go on the beach or somewhere like a remote place, there are also flowers. Why do they blossom? Nobody's going to take them. Nobody's going to put them in like in front of a god or put them in hair or anything like that. They are just going to die tomorrow. But the amount of energy, the amount of zeal in those flowers is magnificent. And that is my understanding is those flowers are blossoming to welcome the sun. They are blossoming not for anything else, but for sun. The fruits are coming for sun. The leaves are coming for sun. If you start thinking like this, I mean, it gives a completely different perspective to you about everything that you look around. And it's a very good experience. It's a very good experience of life.
In fact, the way you expressed it, Nikhilji,
Yeah.
it is like a poetry.
Oh.
More than just a gratitude, it's also a poetry in the making every day as you observe nature around you under the sun.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The
Yes.
other observation I made, Guruji,
Yeah.
that I wanted to comment
Please.
here is now in let's say Uttarayana time, when the
Yes.
sun moves towards the north,
Uttarayana Pudikala.
right? At that point, its objective is to provide more sunlight to the northern hemisphere so that it perpetuates growth.
Right.
And the very fact that it moves to the southern hemisphere in the winter time is because the southern hemisphere is going through summer.
Right.
And at that point is also trying to provide the maximum sunlight to perpetuate growth there during that period of time.
In other words, it's nourishing the entire
Nourishing.
earth
Yeah.
throughout the year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yes. We have time for
Ask
one
you
more
one.
question if anybody has,
Someone
please.
else has? If someone else wants to ask, I had a question, but if someone, I don't want to take away.
Go ahead, Monaji. I think
So you made a very interesting point that, you are the sun.
Mhm.
So do you invoke that sun behind the sun within you when you do Soorya Namaskara? So on a day when it's raining, I hibernate because I can't handle not having the sun.
Mhm.
So will that help if I did Soorya Namaskar? Would it create some kind of change in my system, chemical?
Definitely, definitely. And Surya Namaskar is, as I said, not that it's not limited to those 7 positions done in 12 steps. Well, that's like a 1% of Surya Namaskar. Surya Namaskar is the sun experience. You should open your senses towards the sun. How many people have really looked at the sun at the sunrise is my question. They have lived for so many years. How many, tell me the days you have looked at the sunrise. Sun is rising every passing day in your life. Sun is rising because there is no sunrise for sun. Sun is there. Sunrise is for you. So there is no gap, so to say, in the rising sun. But how many times we have observed it? So what I like one statement is from Thich Nhat Hanh. What he says is, okay, there was a big fire in the forest. Does it really matter to you? It doesn't matter to me because I was not there. I was not part of that experience. I didn't see that fire. I didn't see who all are burning, how many trees are burning. I didn't see the magnitude of it. I didn't see the grasp of it. So I didn't see anything. So for me, there was no fire. I didn't have that experience of sun. So for me, those sunrises were not there. So the whole point of Soorya Namaskar is to bring as many sunrises in your life as possible.
Beautiful.
You should have that motivation to go and meet the sun. I would say, from a corporate America, look at it this way: your boss is coming there. Are you going to go and receive him or not? You are. You are going to receive him 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, whatever time. Okay, I'll manage. I will make sure that my eyes don't look red. I will go there. I'll pick him up. I will do that for my boss, and I'm not doing that for my son. That's the tragedy. So the Soorya Namaskar is a process of adding more sunrises in life. It's a process of adding more experiences of sun in life. So I completely understand. On a rainy day, it feels very sad. You don't see, once you get into that habit of watching the rising sun, it's so amazing experience. It's an amazing experience. As I said, go out in the super cold. I mean, I do that every day. I go out 4 o'clock. I look at the stars. I spend 15-20 minutes just looking at the stars. I look at all the directions, east, west. I don't know anything about sky. I don't take Google Sky with me to tell me which star is that and which Rashi is that. I don't want to know that. I just want to experience that Brahma Muhurta and the peace of that time. That's it. If I add any color to it, that peace is gone. The minute I start thinking, oh, is that a satellite? That means I'm thinking. That means I'm not in the now. So the whole purpose of Soorya Namaskara is to get back in the now. Stop thinking. So to answer your question, I mean, I get questions from people like somebody 84-year-old person called me. He said, I've been doing Soorya Namaskar for all my life, but doctor said not to do it anymore. I feel so guilty about it. What can I do? My answer to him is, you have done it so well. You have lived a very good life. You have experienced sun for so many number of years. You have thought about sun for so many number of years. Now sun is saying, okay, your body is a little bit older. I don't want you to do it with the body. You can just do it with the mind. There is nothing that has gone wrong with your mind. Just close your eyes and feel the sun. Imagine that you are doing Soorya Namaskar. And that is also equally fruitful as the physical Soorya Namaskar. So sometimes, yeah, there is rain. I can't go out. Yeah. So in that case, yeah, that is one of the day you have to just contemplate that you are doing it in the sun. What else can we do?
Turn on your heat lamp.
Thank you.
But it is a marvelous experience. I mean, I would recommend to all my participants in my classes is to go out on a mountaintop, go out in a forest, go out in a rocky trail, go out on a beach and experience the rising sun. This is never going to happen again in life. Today's rising sun is today's rising sun. It's not going to come back to you again. That's just once in a lifetime experience. And why are we losing those experiences? I really don't know. And they are free, by the way.
Thank you.
No tickets.
Anybody else? If not, we could close, and I would love to thank
Yes, sir.
Neeraj once again.
One question, Namaskar.
Yeah.
Please.
Does it have to be rising sun, or just even as you drive in the morning to work and you see the sun, you think about it? Is that any benefit?
Wonderful, wonderful question. So I have created a group on Facebook, and I named it as "Did you meet the sun today?" You don't have to do Soorya Namaskar. You don't have to go out in the morning. If you can't do it physically, that's fine. Do not have any kind of guilt in your mind that, okay, I'm not able to do it. Oh, now sun is going to do this thing to me. No, sun is not going to do anything to you. Sun is a little bit too busy with other things. So he's not going to come after you. So there should be no guilt, first of all. There should be no fear. A lot of people say, am I doing Soorya Namaskar right or wrong? You don't have to be afraid of it. Nobody has told that this is the right way of doing Soorya Namaskar. No, sun has not told it to anybody. There is no right way of doing Soorya Namaskar. There is no wrong way of doing Soorya Namaskar. It's all what we have created. It's our tool. We should use it for our benefit. If it is causing any trouble to us, we should stop using it. If we can't do it, that's fine. There have been slogs, like in my life also. Okay, for so many reasons, health issues, family issues, or work issues, I used to travel East Coast every week, and I like, wow. Many a times I used to miss Soorya Namaskar. I felt like, wow, I missed it. But I missed it. I'm doing whatever sun has asked me to do, and for that reason, if I can't do Soorya Namaskar, that's fine. Sun is okay with that. Watching the sun any time of the day is awesome. Thinking about the sun any time of the day is awesome. That is the best thing you can do to yourself. Does that answer your question?
Kamalaji?
Yes, that does. Yeah, just, if I can just say, look at the sun and say the Gayatri or a couple of times, that's the extent of my Soorya Namaskar. So
This is wonderful. I mean, as I said, Gayatri, if you know Gayatri, that is fine. If you don't know Gayatri, that is fine. You know sun. You take any religion, you take any clan, you take any caste, you take any creed, sun is sun. It is not limited to any religion. It is not limited to any class or anything. It is infinite.
Well said.
So yeah, if you know Gayatri, wonderful, do it. If you don't know it, that's fine too. You can just say, go to sun. Oh, is it necessary to have the mantras in Sanskrit? Who says that? No. You can appreciate the God in English. Wonderful. You can appreciate God in Marathi, any language. It's your language. It's your medium of communication. God knows all of this. So I would not restrict myself on anything. It's the experience. It's the thought about sun. I'm thinking about sun. That's good enough.
Thank you so much, Nikhilji.
thank you very much.
We need to call it a day again, and we'll always welcome you. And the next Loka Kalyana talk in January is going to be about Upavasam, fasting.
Kumarji, thank you so much for this. This is so valuable. Really. But just one last thing is that these Om, Reem, Rhyme, all these, where can we find these?
I can send that to you. It's actually, you know Marathi, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's simple. We have this, what we call swaras, like A, I, U, U, A, I, O, Au, Aha, right? You take A, Om, Raha, and you take the second one, the Dirgha je hai te gyaisa. So Ram, Reem, Room, A, I, U, I, Rhyme, Raum, Raha. So basically, this is the swaras in any Indian language, I guess.
With the halanta, Haram, Hreem, Hroom.
Yes.
Yeah. I see. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Any puja vidhi where you do the prana pratishta. This is a prana pratishta mantra also.
Okay.
This is a bija mantra.
Yeah, Bija mantra.
Basically, it is related to the chakra vibration invocation and all that stuff. Maybe that's a topic for another day.
Okay, so Nikhilji, you can pass the control back so that we could wish everybody good night. And
Yep.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a
Wonderful.
great night. And
Namaste.
thanks again for your attendance. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Kumarji.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Really
Absolutely.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.